When I was growing up, there was probably no bigger fad than Pokemon. It was a hit TV show, a great game, and had tons of other merchandise. Everyone I knew had to have one of the first games, either Pokemon Blue or Red. So, when we learned there was going to be a Pokemon game in 3D, we lost it. Enter Pokemon Stadium. Seeing all the Pokemon of the time in 3D was a big reason to get it. Personally, having watched the show before playing the game, there were certain Pokemon, like Koffing or Ghastly, that just made me go, "What have they done to you?" or "No, that's wrong," when I saw their first pixelized form. When I saw them in Pokemon Stadium, I went, "Yes, that's right, that's what a Pokemon should look like!" Except for Pidgey. It took until the Game Boy Advance games for him to look right. Pokemon Stadium was very basic. It just gave the fans the ability to fight with their favorite Pokemon, but in 3D! It might not seem like much, but to 10-year-old kids riding the current fad, this was awesome. There were many areas of the game to play in, such as the different cups in the Gym Leader Castle, where you had to beat a bunch of trainers, and the Battle Now feature, where you were thrown into a fight with a pre-chosen team. There was also the Free Battle, a personal favorite of mine, where you could just fight for fun and choose the rules you wanted to go by. Another feature that made this game a must-have for anyone who had the blue, red, or yellow Pokemon games was this game's use of the Transfer Pack accessory. You even got one with each copy of this game. This was a device you could insert a Game Boy cartridge into, then plug into your Nintendo 64 controller. With this game, you could put your Pokemon Blue, Red, or Yellow game into the Transfer Pack, start playing Pokemon Stadium, and use your Pokemon for some of the fights if they met the requirements. Otherwise, you had to rent Pokemon, which meant they weren't always fitted with the moves you wanted. You could also visit the GB Tower and play the game in your Transfer Pack on your TV screen, which saves on having to buy countless batteries for your Game Boy. Also, you could visit Professor Oak's lab and view the stats of your Pokemon, keep some on your N64 instead of your Game Boy, or train them around with other games. These are only some of the many ways that Pokemon Stadium took advantage of this neat accessory. But wait, what if, God forbid, you got tired of battling? Pokemon Stadium thought of a solution for that: the Kids Club. This area of the game was a collection of 9 Pokemon-themed minigames. Each one was fun and made use of different Pokemon. There were games where players had to make their Magikarps hop, race their Rattatas, and throw hooped Ekans around Diglets. These games were not only fun, but I can clearly recall some days where me and my friends popped in Stadium just to play these games for hours. As a matter of fact, I found the music from one of these games, Thunder Dynamo, best suited the mood of this review. Listen. Aren't I right? It's one of the first games I've played to feature optional mini-games completely separate from the main game, and it's one of the best. Pokemon Stadium might not have seemed like much at first glance, but once you scratched its surface, you could spend a long time figuring everything out. There were many modes to play in, and lots of stuff to unlock. It made excellent use of an otherwise little-known accessory, and made it so every Pokemon fan needed this and at least one of the Game Boy games. Upon thinking about it, Pokemon Stadium seemed a little hollow without owning Pokemon Blue, Red, or Yellow, and there were lots of reasons to get Pokemon Stadium if you already owned those games. It's kind of like if you could buy shoes separately. They would still be comfortable on one foot, but to get the full feeling, you need both. Nonetheless, this was a great contribution to our rising game series.
Down